Hey everybody, this is Jay. I'm going to put together one of my videos here on studying for the CMT Level 1. These are really just review sessions for me, good ways for me to dive in. And if they help you, that's great. Not everyone might be studying for a CMT, but if you're trying to learn technical analysis, really good stuff. The CMT Association is an association for chartered market technicians, basically people that can do technical analysis and actually make that a career or build upon that in the same way someone might be a CFA for financials. So anyway, hope this is helpful for you, and we'll see how this works out. All right. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. Right. So this is one of our trade school series, right? We put these out just as an educational tool for people so that they can see how to improve with their own technical analysis. And what we're going to dive into are basically 6 principles of technical analysis. The first one being the market's trend. Your trend is your friend. And this is something that we need to realize that we can rely on trends. We want to capitalize on trends. And trends are formed by price. So if something is increasing in price, that's going to make an uptrend. If things are decreasing in price, that's going to make a downtrend. Pretty basic, but you have to get that fundamental understanding that market's trend is your friend, and the trend is formed by price. Now, this next principle is just breaking down, well, what is price, right? And that price is determined by supply and demand. And so that the supply and demand, basically, if there's an increase in demand, I'm going to see prices increase. And if there's a decrease in demand, I'm going to see prices decrease. So if suddenly people want more Apple stocks, we're going to see that price increase. And if suddenly people want less Facebook stock, we're going to see the Meta company, or FB, we see that decrease. And we've seen those things both play out. And we would say that there is an increase in demand or a decrease in demand. So we have to wonder what drives demand. This is the next principle. And what drives demand is our expectations. And expectations can be formed by a lot of things. Expectations can be formed by information or the earnings reports that we see, right? That's information. We saw a lot of that this week in stocks that went up, like Snap or Amazon, and stocks that did not, right, based on their earnings. So that could be information. And maybe that information is correct. Maybe it's not, right? Have you ever thought about that? Like, it could be perceived information that isn't really accurate. Emotions, right? Fear, greed, joy, excitement, these definitely there. And then cognitive limitations, right? These can be biases. Basically, that humans are kind of crazy people, crazy creatures, and those sort of things will form or cause us to react on expectations affecting supply and demand. So another key principle here is that price discounts everything, right? So basically, that when you take in your hopes, your disappointments, that knowledge, events, all these different things that could be happening, price is calculating that in, right? You'll hear on CNBC a lot of times, this is already fixed into the market, or we've already taken that into price, right? Actually, I'm not saying that correctly at all, but there's an expression that they say a lot, and that's basically what we're talking about, right? Is that price discounts everything. It figures all these things in to ultimately come up to a balance of supply and demand. And if you're interested more in supply and demand and trends, you should watch the previous video that we did, Trends Part 1 with Trade School 101. That was great. That was a really good video and really helpful. So there's this great quote by Eugene Fama: prices fully reflect all available information. And that's basically explaining what we just talked about, right? So anytime I see the price of Netflix being what it is, I have to realize that's already calculating everything in, right? It's already fixed in to that price. And that's important to understand. So another principle, prices are non-random, right? So prices are purposeful, They're being made by this supply and demand. Supply and demand is formed from our expectations, emotions, cognitive limitations, knowledge, perceived and factual. All of these things are forming something very concrete. There's nothing random about it, right? That price is that price. Another principle here is humans will do the same things in similar situations, right? We are creatures of habit. We are going to act in the same way in similar situations that we've acted before. And that is one of the reasons why we see patterns so clearly form when we look at charts. People are acting in a way kind of understandable and predictable, and that's why technical analysts are able to capitalize on that. Right. This is definitely a quote that I've put in the trends video as well. I don't trust words. I even question actions, but I never doubt patterns. And this is something that I found from a psychologist, and she attributed it to an anonymous source. So I don't have the person I can really attribute this quote to, but I just love this. Just the other day, someone was saying, "Oh, people are talking about this or talking about that." I don't trust words, right? I don't care what they're talking about, right? It doesn't really matter what they're talking about, and if what they're talking about aligns with the price action I'm seeing, it didn't really need to hear it in the first place because price already told me that. And if it doesn't, I definitely didn't need to get distracted by other people's words. So I think this is a great quote and it really hits home a lot of things. Right? Mark Twain said it really well as well. History rhymes, it does not repeat. Right? So we're going to see people acting in the ways that make sense to them based on the way they acted in similar situations. It might not be exactly the same, but it's certainly going to rhyme. Another principle that we talked about in the trends video is that patterns are fractal, right? What you're going to see in a 5-minute time frame is also going to be appearing in a larger time frame. We see patterns in all time frames. And emotional feedback, this is when my emotions are affected by previous emotions, right? If MVST, for instance, is something I'm playing right now, and I'm exuberant about the way that feels, and that's going to make me feel more exuberant about it. And sure enough, what did I do? I created content based on MVST. I put out some tweets with some GIFs of me feeling excited about, I just totally nailed that. Or I created a video on the YouTube channel about MVST, right? And so that might be seen by other people, and maybe other people are like, oh, I got to get into this. And what do you eventually have? And I'm certainly not trying to manipulate markets or influence someone's investment decisions. I'm just saying that this is the way psychology works, society, and that could eventually form into a bubble, right? And these bubbles are these hyperinflated prices. People are just raw nerves of emotion, and that's all becomes of this emotional feedback. It's kind of a cool topic, actually. It's really, really pretty neat. So that's it, man. Those are the assumptions. I hope this has been helpful. I know I'll be watching this as well as I prepare for CMT Level 1. I hope it's helpful for others. Hey, cheers, y'all.